Hello, craft beer friends, and welcome to Season 9, Episode 8 of Tampa Craft Podcast. I am Denny Luce, coming to you from Boise, Idaho, and my partner in craft, the dog whisperer, and my favorite Florida man from Tampa, Florida, Mr. Kris McKenzie. Kris, how are you doing tonight? And of course, what is in your glass?
Well, I'm about to crack what's in my glass.
Oh, you're gonna
right
crack
now.
it?
Yeah.
Pop that top.
I'm doing really well. I'm drinking some Redrum from Corporate Ladder. So I figured this was an appropriate beer for for our Halloween show. And I'll go ahead and pour this because
It's red. Look at that.
It's an appropriate beer for this
Wow, it looks like
show.
You're pouring like blood. It actually looks like blood, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty cool, right? I've had this one before, and I was so excited to have this one. So listen, I didn't dress up, like a pirate, but I brought the appropriate beer.
Well, then, to the plank with you, sir. Unworthy.
My beer looks like blood.
Yeah, you're more dangerous than me.
Yeah.
I just got beer. Looks like beer.
Yeah. Well, what about you, sir? How's your day going, and what's in your glass this evening?
Oh, it's going fantastic. I'm enjoying it's Halloween today. It is Halloween, so I dressed up as a pirate, although I look like a hippie, or a gypsy
Pirate hippie.
Yeah,
person.
but I had this is one of the costumes that we had, from our days when we were invited to parties and we had fun. And I thought, you know what, this is just collecting dust in the closet. We're recording on Halloween. Why not go ahead and wear it?
Oh, this whole thing, I just had it lying around.
Yeah, I just had it laying around. I was telling Kris before we started, at least I didn't put on my caveman outfit. A little bit too sexy for Facebook, I think. They might have banned us.
Worth it.
But yeah, well, I'm doing good. I'm drinking a beer. I'm drinking something not so cool as Redrum from Corporate Ladder. I'm drinking something from Sam Adams. Yes, I'm drinking Sam Adams on the show. I picked up their winter sampler pack. Now, the reason I picked up the winter sampler pack is because I needed to get some Boston Lager for this beer awards. And, most of these sampler packs have Boston Lager included with them. Well, guess what? I picked up the sampler pack that doesn't have Boston Lager included with it. So I'm enjoying some Boston or some Sierra Nevada. That's totally
my first time drinking.
Sam Adams. But this is their Winter Fest or Winter. Shoot, I forgot what it was. Winter Ale? Winter Lager.
Okay.
Winter Lager. It's a Bock. It says festive and smooth. And this is their 2022 version. They brought it back. I guess this wasn't around. I think last year was around, but before that it was missing. And they brought it back with some, additional hops in here to give it a little bit different flavor, more modern thing. But it's a lager, so I can't even taste the hops in here, to be honest with you.
No, you never really do.
Yeah, I taste some great malt, easy, smooth drinking, a great starter beer for what we have in store for you later in the show with our tasting notes. So I'll tell you that about in a minute. But yeah, this one, I'll tell you what, all four beers I'm really enjoying in the sampler pack. So if you have a chance, you want to try some new beers from Sam Adams, well, some new and some old, this winter sampler pack is pretty good. It has this lager, winter lager. It has a winter wit, a nice winter wit beer, not too bold on the flavors, just enough to give you some nice enjoyable flavor in there. It also has a cold IPA. I think that's just going off the name cold IPA or the style, cold for winter. And I'll tell you what, this cold IPA is actually a pretty good cold IPA. So I was impressed with it. I enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 rating. So that says something. And it has a beer that's been around for many, many, many years that I didn't really like when I first had it, a while back. The old Fezziwig, Christmas winter warmer spiced ale. And I'll tell you what, I tried it last night, and I enjoyed it enough where I had a second can. Wow, 2 cans in a row of Old Fezziwig. Yeah, I did enjoy it. And it's actually I have a more of appreciation for these, Christmas spices in my beer. I'm not sure why, because I always hated spices in my beer, like nutmeg and allspice and that. But I'll tell you what, I really enjoyed it. It's like an old ale style with just a little bit of a hint of spices and really good. So that's how I'm doing. That's what I've been drinking. Yeah,
I love that your cans talked about the hops and things that are in it. Mine just says all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy over and over again.
Don't get Jack mad.
Yeah, well,
Don't get Jack
maybe it might be a time to revisit that movie because that was a good one.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, let's get started with the show. But you know what? Before we get too far in, we always want to let anyone new that who just happened to join us know what Tampa Craft Podcast is all about. We are an educational podcast. We focus around celebrating all things craft beer because we want to assist you, our listener, along in your craft beer journey and adventures. And you're listening to episode 216. We're recording on Monday, October 31st, 2022. And yes, we are live on Facebook and on Twitter. And if you'd like to join us while we record these episodes, you can do that every Monday before the show releases. Now, of course, that being said, we're going to have our next show going to be recorded next Monday. So right after this show is released, we'll be doing another one because I'll be on vacation for the normal recording cycles. But normally, if you want to join us, see how this show is made, look, watch us in our funny outfits and
all of our glory
and all of our hilarity. You can do that on Facebook and Twitter. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about Halloween themed beers. It is Halloween. And I thought, you know what? It's been a while since we talked about, some spooky and candy themed beers that go great during the Halloween holiday season. And we're going to have a tasting notes segment with the Cigar City Brewing's 2022 Hunahpu's Imperial Stout. Ooh, so if you're lucky enough to have one of those in your fridge, why don't you go bust that out, get it warmed up a little bit, because we'll be diving into that very soon. And of course, you can count on Kris and I having some great conversation along the way. And Kris and I would like to thank all of our Patreon supporters, because this episode is brought to you in part by our satisfied Patreon supporters like Mike Allen, Bill Schlemmer, Amanda and Kevin Argauer, Mark Reedy, Mike Blanchard, Tara Carlson, and Jim Kutzel, and Alex Fuchs, who are our virtual producers, and Tom Byrne, Jeff Seiler, Johan Halberg, Chad Lamassa, Mark Church, and Eric Gronley, who want to buy us a virtual beer. And if you enjoy the content we provide, we invite you to support the show by toasting your host or buying us a virtual beer or even becoming a virtual producer. You can explore the options on our support page by visiting patreon.com/tapthecraft. Woo, that's a mouthful. That's a mouthful. Okay, so Kris, we have some feedback. We have a couple emails and we have a voicemail. So why don't you go ahead and start? So I got done talking too much. Why don't you go ahead and read what Tara Carlson had to write about.
I'll also talk about what Jim said, that he and Tara are back from their New England trip. Jim's drinking Move, which is a New England IPA from Black Pond Brewing in Dayville, Connecticut. And he said he gave it a 5-cap rating when he had it at the brewery. So
nice.
Would love to hear a little bit more about that trip. I'm sure you guys take vacations just like I do. It's to breweries and then enjoy the scenery secondary. So Tara wrote us a couple of emails, but here is the one that we thought everyone would enjoy. She said, "We have finally made the pilgrimage to Narragansett, the brewery of Jim's youth. Jim brought his vintage Narragansett ties to show off, and he bought them in 1974.
Yeah, when did breweries start providing ties to buy? I need a story about that.
I mean, I don't wear ties really, unless it's a wedding.
Well, Jim doesn't either. He just collects them.
I love cool brewery stuff, and still in the original wrapping too.
Yeah.
She wanted to mention John English as the legendary tour master, and you get a free beer, so why not?
Yeah.
I have gone out on a limb and ordered a flight of all the beer styles I usually avoid. I'm proud of you. The Hefeweizen, the Farmhouse Ale, Pumpkin Ale, and a Sour. Look at you. They had a gift shop there, Jim said.
Oh, okay.
I don't mind them except for the Hefeweizen. Don't like the aroma. I had a taster of their porter from a 1822 recipe that tasted very modern. How did this beer style lose out to Budweiser?
What a great question, too. I don't know the answer.
Which beer style, though? We talked about a lot of them.
Well, I mean, I think she mentioned the last one she talked about the porter.
Mm-hmm.
And if a porter was around in 1822, why would anyone want anything different than something that's, got some great flavor and it's not just light and fizzy and, bland. But
yeah, Jim said they were talking about the porter.
Yes. So that's something I'm going to have to go research, because when she brought that up, I'm like, yeah, why? I don't know why. How did lager become the default, de facto? That's what I was trying to think of. De facto beer for the U.S. I need to find out. I'm sure there's some history out there I can dig up, and I think I might do a show on that if I can find enough information, because that's a good question.
Something stands out. Like, we talked about that very, very quickly in an episode this year.
It could be.
Maybe. I don't, just something came up where it was like, hey, in the turn of the century, Budweiser or a lager style beer, beat out the porter. I don't remember.
Okay. So yeah, well, I'll research it. We'll find out. Well, thank you, Tara, for all your emails, and for this one that made the show. We really appreciate your support. I hope you guys enjoyed those 5 shows that you saved up for your trip. I mean, hopefully they weren't too dated for you. Okay, so I'll go to the next one here. Let's go to, we have a listener question from Mr. Bill Schlimmer. He wrote us an email saying, in your opinion, how long can you keep an oatmeal stout in a can, not barrel aged, before any of the flavors begin to drop out? I have some oatmeal stouts that are over a year old and had one the other night. It tasted fine, but I can't remember what it tasted like when it was fresher. Thanks for any insights you might have. So that is a good question. A regular oatmeal stout isn't going to necessarily have anything special unless it has adjuncts added to it that is going to fall out too quickly. So I think a year is fine. When you add the oatmeal to the stout, it mainly is helping the body become a little bit heavier, silkier, smoother, creamier. And I think it just depends on how strong the beer was brewed for the chocolate character and any coffee character that might come from the malts that were used. So I guess it all depends on if you drink one fresh and you notice that, man, this has got some great bold, really good flavors, some bold flavors. Yeah, you can age it for a year or more. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think you need to age it for too long, right?
No.
I think a year is probably good enough. And if the beer is a beer that's brewed annually, and you can get another one that has the same, it's brewed the same way, you can get a fresh one and then try it against the one, do a vertical tasting where you pour a small glass of the fresh, a small glass of the aged one, and then see for yourself what has changed. There's always a chance that you are going to get some oxidation if there was oxygen left in the can. I mean, canning is a little bit, sometimes can be tougher to remove all the oxygen out of there. And you can get a chance of having some oxidation that will occur, that you might feel that there's some cardboard or sherry type flavors. I would say more like cardboard for the stout. But again, I think a year, I think you're okay. But I wouldn't go longer than that. You don't need to. What do you think, Kris?
I was going to say, I think that's one of those styles that can stand the test of time. Like, I know that they're going to put very minimal hops in there. And it's the majority of the flavors that you're going to get is all going to be from that malt. And if it's a higher ABV beer, it's going to preserve a little better. If it's 5, 6, 7%, I mean, I'd be willing to bet that over the course of a year, you're not going to notice a whole lot of difference, because usually that roast in there is pretty prevalent.
Yeah.
Like that roast might mellow out a little, but other than that, I wouldn't imagine it changes a whole lot.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're pretty safe. Like you said, it'll mellow out the flavor. If it is a lighter, almost stout, it may lose some of the impact. But yeah, 1 year, 6 months if it has coffee in it, don't let it go longer than 6 months. So if they put in kind of dry beaning, as they call it in there, try to drink that one before 6 months. If there's no adjuncts, then yeah, a year, maybe 2, but I think you're pushing it if you go 2. Again, the biggest thing you got to worry about is oxidation. It's less like you're going to get leakage through the opening. It's what was trapped in that can during the packaging will cause the oxidation. It won't be leaking like you would from a bottle. So you're a little bit better off there, and you won't get any you won't get light struck beer either. So, all right. Well, I hope that answered your question, Bill, and thanks for writing in. All right, Kris, we got a voicemail from Mr. Mark Reedy. Why don't you go ahead and cue that sucker up?
Hey, fellas, it's Mark Reedy calling from Monterey, California. It's been a while since I've spoken to you or left the messages.
It's been a while.
I hope you missed me as much as I missed you guys.
Oh, we miss you.
Immensely.
Hey, listening to the delayed episode this week, and I had a thought of, I hate to say this publicly, but I'm thinking about doing the Cicerone first 2 exams, and I'm wondering if you guys have any resources or maybe talk about just that subject itself of, what the hell does it do for us? I just want to do it for beer knowledge. I don't think I'm going to make any more money on it. I just want to know so I can share with other people. And speaking of sharing, I'm still sharing your cards and your stickers with some of my bar patrons. And people seem to be excited. I hope they are checking in with you guys. All right. Take care, guys. And thank you for all the love and the knowledge. See ya.
All right. Well, thank you, Mark. We appreciate your call.
Sorry, I was going to repeat.
Wow, you like that repeat? You got that automatic repeat on your.
It does. It'll play and then it'll just go again. And I tried to close it out right at the end. I didn't want to miss anything.
Yeah.
So it's a good question, though.
It is a good question, and I think we've mentioned Cicerone in the past, but we haven't gotten into details on it. Maybe I will do a topic on the Cicerone. I'll be honest with you. I don't have a lot of information. I think the best resources are to go to the Cicerone website, and that's where I found information before when I've had questions. Is just go and check out what they offer and what each of the levels do and what benefits it might serve you. But from my understanding, the best thing that it's going to do for you in your position is to give you that knowledge of the different styles, especially the entry. You have the beer server one and you have the one right above beer server. At the very minimum, do the entry level one. Yeah. And then if you like what it has to offer, explaining the beer styles, explaining pairings and things that you can help your clientele with, then that's great. And if you enjoyed it and want to learn more, you can go to that next level and get certified in that. And that'll just give you even more knowledge, and then also allow you to understand, flavors and off flavors and things like that. And it just provides you as a better resource to your customer. And if you can always put that in your resume, as far as if you decide to go to another place, by having that on there, they know that you actually know something about beer. So there is benefit for future jobs, and maybe some places require servers to have at least one level of the Cicerone. So look into it, and I'll look into it as well, and give it a shot. It won't cause any harm.
I can tell you, I can tell you the first one, Mark. I'm not entirely sure how long you've been in the beer world. I'd be willing to bet that you could take the first, which is the beer server certification. You could take that without studying, and you'd probably pass it. Because I know there's been breweries and different beer places that I've seen where, hey, all of their service staff have gone through, they have to be a certified beer server to work at these places. And really just kind of the outcomes that they're looking for in this first kind of course this is already right off their website at cicerone.org. Become conversant in the language of beer, including key flavor words and core beer styles. Master the details of beer service, including glass preparation, proper pouring of both draft and bottled, and then learning the 3 most common ways that the flavor of beer can be ruined after it leaves the brewery and what to do to prevent that from happening. Simple stuff. I don't work in beer. I just happen to call it a cool hobby. And I'd be willing to bet that a lot of our listeners could take this test, which is $69 if you're interested. For a low cost, for a low price of $69 and pass it. And I'd imagine if you're getting into some different worlds when it comes down to your work, the certified Cicerone being level 2, and then advanced and master being level 3 and level 4. I mean, it's you're right. I don't think it's going to get you some extra cash in your pay rate, but it can highlight just how much of a nerd you are. And man, I appreciate that. Yeah, I really do. Yeah. Because man, I went to a restaurant the other day. Not the other day, last year. The restaurant was owned by, I'll just call it a friend of mine who also owns a second restaurant that brews their own beer. And the waitress came up to the table, and I said, yeah, I'd like to get a Cigar City High Lie brewed 40 minutes from where I was sitting. And she goes, well, yeah, that's on our import list, so I don't know if we have that right now. And I went, I'm sorry, what? She goes, yeah, it's on our import list. And I went, no, that's a domestic beer. And she goes, no, look, see right here. It's right here on our menu under imports. And I went, you've got to be shitting me. It's brewed 40 minutes away. I could drive there right now and get one from the brewery.
It's for all those tourists that don't know any better.
Oh my God.
They see import, they're going to pay the higher price.
Okay. I hope that's it. And I hope that works for them. But I had a problem with that. And I was like, I was like, you have a domestic beer in your import list, right? Like a lot of them. Yeah, that's not really. And that person told me, hey, that's kind of how that restaurant runs. So it's probably kind of what you were saying, Denny.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we always love voicemails. If you want to be like Mark and send us a voicemail with your comments and questions or whatever, you can do that just like Mark did. Just call us at 208-536-3359, or if it's easier for you to remember, 208-53-ODDLY. And we would love to hear from you and play your voicemail on the air. And if you'd like to be like Bill and Tara and send us emails, let's just go with emails first. Send us emails. You can do that through our email address at taptocraft@gmail.com. Or if you are more on the social app side, we do have a Twitter and Instagram at taptocraft. And of course, Kris would love to interact with you on Facebook at our Facebook page, facebook.com/taptocraft. And don't forget, we do have our very own website at taptocraft.com. Lots of stuff to get information on. This will be our last notice about our next FrostBuddy contest, our third entry into this, into your chance to win a FrostBuddy. We will be doing the drawing on our next recording, which will be Monday, November 7th. You only have, after this show airs, 3 days to send me your screenshot of your Spotify or any app that you have rated us in to get entered into the contest. You can enter as many times as you want for different apps, and that will be drawn. We do have 4 people entered right now, so it's a good chance right now.
Chances are good.
Yeah, you have 1 1/4 chance right now. More people enter.
25% chance you win. 1 in 4 shot. I mean, for those of you who like the statistics.
Yeah. So, and help us. I'm still waiting to see that magic number here. I don't know what it is, but as soon as we get our rating up on Spotify, I'll be happy. And it hasn't hit yet.
I left one.
Oh, good. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that.
I care. I really do.
All right, Chris. Before we get into our Untap the Craft, my glass is empty, so I'm thinking I want to hit this Hunahpu. How are you doing on your beer?
I mean, it's
okay. Are you up for a Hunahpu?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do our tasting notes segment then. And our tasting notes segment for this show is with our Cigar City Brewing's 2022 Hunahpu's Imperial Stout. And yes, as Chris showed off, look at that beauty.
First year that it was in a can, by the way.
Oh, this is the first year in a can too. Yeah. Oh, this is the inaugural year, March 12th, 2022.
Yeah, that was Hunahpu Day.
Look at that. It's
also the first year in a very long time that obviously with COVID it didn't happen, but first year in a very long time that they didn't have an actual like beer festival.
Oh, really? There's no festival.
No festival this year. I mean, they have one, but it's not like, where, 60 or 70 breweries show up and, bring a little bit of this and a little bit of that. They do have Hunahpu Day at the brewery here in Tampa, which is where they pour different variants of Hunahpu and different vintages and that kind of thing. So they do have a little celebration for it, but it's not like you're going to go out and buy tickets to this event and get 4 bottles / cans and get wasted at the park,
wasted,
which is what usually happened, which will, I'm sorry to announce it'll be happening to me this weekend. So
all right, I want some TikToks.
I told Miguel from the No More Pours podcast that I was like, I'll be, for the first half of the show, I'll be good. I'll get my drone footage, and then
you're cutting loose.
It's gonna be a long day though. He said something about like, hey, what do you think about showing up at 9 a.m.? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't even go to work that early on Saturday. It's like, really? I said, it doesn't.
What are you gonna do at 9 a.m.? Interview breweries?
So it's not. I said, dude, it doesn't open for VIPs until noon, right? And he goes, oh yeah, maybe we should do it at like 10. And I went, okay, yeah, that might work. That'll also give us plenty of time to set up.
Wait, 1 hour? 1 hour later is good enough for you?
Look, I've never done a show with him before. He's providing all the equipment. The only thing that I'm providing is myself and the drone.
Okay.
And the drone, like I said earlier, that'll go up as soon as we get there, so I can get an overview, because this isn't a new venue. It's not at the brewery like it usually is. Usually it's at a Tampa Bay Brewing Company, at their location in West Chase, Florida. But this year it's at a nearby park. So I'm kind of curious to see what that's going to look like. I want to get some kind of a lay of the land there too, see what we might be able to shoot as far as footage goes and have some fun with that. And Gasparilla Pizzeria and Growlers is going to be serving pizza there.
Oh boy. Nice.
And I'll be hanging out with Connor and all the guys over there at Gasparilla too.
All right. Excellent. All right. Well, hey, let's get down to this beer tasting.
Let's do it. Jeff Seiler said happy Halloween. Guys.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. So this is an Imperial Stout brewed with cinnamon, vanilla, cacao nibs, and chili peppers. Comes in at 12.5% ABV with 44 IBUs. And did you know central to Mayan. Did I say that right? Mayan, yeah.
Mayan mythology. Yeah.
Mayan mythology
It's a cool
is a story of twin brothers named Balink. I can't.
Yeah, these are hard just because.
And Hunahpu.
Yeah.
I can say Hunahpu. The hero twins. After the twins' father was murdered by evil deities from Zimbabwe, his corpse became a cacao tree that spawned our two heroes. Epic adventures followed, culminating in a journey to Zimbabwe to avenge their father's death, vanquishing their enemies handedly. The heroes then ascended unto the heavens, where they became the sun and the moon. Woo! Quite a story.
Listen, that makes the beer's got a hell of a reputation to uphold.
Yes, yeah. Two heroes, at least one hero for sure, the Hunahpu hero.
Yeah.
All right. So we're looking at the color. Wow, this is like pitch black.
There's
very
no
dark
light
brown
going through this.
Yeah, there's no
Only at the
light.
very top.
Yeah, this is the way a good Imperial Stout should be. The head, I didn't pour it hard, but it didn't seem like there's much of a head there. Did you get any head on yours?
It disappeared quickly.
Yeah.
Sorry, my inner 12-year-old giggled a little bit.
Well, it is Halloween.
Did you get any head? Yeah, I had a little, but it was gone quickly. Yeah,
it didn't last. I couldn't last, man.
Yeah, happens to the best of us.
But it looks like it would, if it had a head, would be a nice cappuccino like coloring head, darker tan. But yeah, the beer looks good and dark, what an Imperial Stout should. Okay, and let's go to the aroma. Now the aroma is fantastic. You can smell the vanilla and the cacao nibs.
You can smell the chilies too,
and the chilies too. In the back of your nose, you can get the chili peppers in there, and maybe a little cinnamon as well.
And cinnamon's a funny addition to a beer because it can play with you a little bit as far as what your beer tastes like, what it smells like, and just kind of picking that out.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween, Eric Gronley.
Eric. Oh, he's taking a break from taking the kids out and joining us. Thank you.
It's probably bedtime or something.
Oh, it's probably true.
No, it's only like 7:00 where he is.
But I will say this: there's no coconut in this beer, right?
No.
But it kind of has, to me, some these flavors, and maybe it's the vanilla with the cinnamon and the chocolate and chili, everything mixed together. I kind of feel like there's like some toasted coconut in there, but I know there's not. But I kind of smell that. It smells delicious, and I can't wait to take a sip. So hey, let's stop waiting. Let's get that sip down.
Cheers.
Nice and thick. Wow, this one is so I let mine warm up. So mine's at a pretty warm I wouldn't say room temperature, just below.
Mine's close.
Yeah, mine's close to room temperature. Because before we started recording, I pulled the can out because I didn't want it to be ice cold. So I've got like the perfect temperature to be able to taste the flavors. And this one feels like, from the past ones that we've had, it seems to be a little bit more on a sweet side. But what do you think?
So that's one of the things that I love and hate about this beer every year is it seems to change just ever so slightly.
Yeah.
And it's never it's usually always good. There was definitely a year where there's a bug that hit me in the face. There was a year 2017-ish where I was like, oh, you guys can have mine. But it was still really good. This year it's kind of leaning heavier on the peppers. Like the little bit of heat, very little bit of heat. But also that cinnamon is also playing with your palate too.
I agree. I completely agree that it's the peppers, and not overly where it's like hurting me, but I do feel it in my throat. Right here in my throat is feeling the peppers, and you're absolutely correct. It's the sweetness playing with also the cinnamon that gives you this candy-like character in it, right? Or some kind of a sweet, hot, like a red hot type candy flavor in there, which when I first took the first sip, I was thrown off by it because I wasn't expecting to have like a red hot Jolly Rancher type flavor in there, but it's not off-putting. It just was. It was just a surprise because I was expecting to be like heavy chocolate, heavier on the, because in the past I remember it being like a big, a bigger chocolate character in there, and the chocolate's there. It just feels like you said. I feel like the cinnamon and the peppers and a little bit of sweetness plays a bigger role in this version. But it's good. I'm not going to dump it. That's for sure. I'm enjoying this beer. But the mouthfeel is full. A little bit of stickiness that lingers, kind of a stickiness in the mouth as well. For that middle, sweetness and I keep wanting to say, that Jolly Rancher, what I call it, the hot rancher thing.
Oh, red hot,
like a red hot or a Jolly Rancher cinnamon fireball thing.
Yeah.
It dissipates pretty quickly.
Yeah, and it's more, now that you mentioned Fireball, like not Fireball the whiskey, but Fireball the candy.
Yeah.
It's really that, like where you put that giant jawbreaker kind of thing in your mouth, and in the beginning it's kind of like that sweet but almost earthy cinnamon to it.
Yeah.
And then that's when you start getting through the layers of it. It starts getting hot. This is that very beginning of a Fireball candy, backed up with a little vanilla, a little cacao.
Yeah.
And then all kind of mixed together in this Imperial Stout.
What I will say is that there's no booziness to it. It doesn't taste alcoholic. It's 12.5%. It does have a sweetness to it, but there's no adverse effects from that. Like, normally when a beer comes off big in alcohol and sweet, you get that more boozy alcoholic character to it. And this doesn't have it. It's very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Again, the only thing that threw me off was that candy-like character in there, but hey, I like it. Oh, he's taking a red rum swig. How's that mixed with it? Is that a good blend?
So this is definitely a little more sweet, and this is definitely a little more, well, not sweet, because this red rum, smoothie sour with strawberries, rum-soaked banana, vanilla, and caramel. So this is dessert. It really is. You and I were talking about the Monster series that they put out. Man, those were all just I mean, I don't know what you can see with this, but it's you could mix that with a little protein powder for breakfast.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah,
it's fruity.
Yeah, it poured nice. I got to hand it to Blake and his corporate ladder team. That is perfect for the name. Red rum.
Well, they're aware of. I tagged them in our feed here, and they already love that we're drinking their red rum on the show tonight.
Well, good.
So cheers, guys. Good. Thanks for putting together the awesome beers.
For sure. Okay, Kris, how do you rate this beer, 2022 version, compared to how you rated the other versions? Obviously, it's better than 2017, right?
Yeah, 2017, like I gave those away. This one though,
that's too bad.
I know it is, but this one though, it's usually, unless I sit and I taste a beer with you or somebody else who I can have a conversation with about a beer, like if I'm drinking it with the guys over at Gasparilla, or I'm trying to sit at my kitchen counter and go, okay, what do I taste? No, I'm going to put it in a snifter and I'm going to sit down and watch a hockey game or,
yeah. And you're going to slowly sip it. And then before you realize it, you're done. And you're like, oh crap, I didn't check this in.
This one was pretty good though. And I liked I like pepper beers. Like I like the pepper additions to beers, especially when it doesn't turn out to be something super hot or you feel it, like you said, you get it right down here in the bottom, the top of your throat there. And it's just this one, if I was going to rate this one, excuse me, if I was going to go Untapped rating, I'd probably go 4.25 on this one.
Nice.
What about you, Denny?
Yeah. So I do not like pepper beers, but this beer does not turn me off because it has peppers in it. I don't feel like it has just enough of that, of the pepper heat that just says, oh yeah, it's there. The flavor it adds is very nice. I like the cinnamon. I like how I'm enjoying how it plays with the other ingredients to give you a different Imperial Stout with these ingredients in it. I've had a number of Imperial Stouts with cinnamon, vanilla, cocoa nibs, and this is a different beer from those. And I could agree with your 4.25, but I think I had already made my mind up that I was giving this a 4 out of 5, which is still quality and good. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And I want to thank you, my friend, for sending this to me because I wouldn't have had it without you. And I'm glad we were able to do a tasting notes segment live to share with our listeners. So if they happen to have one in their fridge, I hope they're enjoying it as much as we are enjoying it ourselves. Okay, Kris, that's a great tasting note segment. I'll be able to nurse this through our Untapped. That's because now it is time to continue the conversation because it's time to untap the craft and see what our listeners are drinking according to Untapped.
I'm trying to find out where the bottom of our
Good
list
luck.
is here. No, I got it. All right. So we're going to start out with an unusual check-in from Mr. Kevin Page. It's not Burial.
It's not Burial.
It's not Arcane. It's another Orlando-based brewery, Tactical Brewing Company.
Oh, I've heard good things about them. Yeah.
Ghost Blimp. Now, a fun little side story about Tactical Brewing Company. Last year at Badass Beer Fest at Tampa Bay Brewing Company, Tina has there is kind of a challenge that she comes up with for every beer event that we go to. And her challenge is that she wants to take something specific away from that beer event.
Like physically or just...
So one beer event that she went to, she walked up to somebody at MIA Brewing and goes, wow, I really like your hat. Can I have it?
Oh.
And she walked away with an MIA Brewing hat, which I thought was awesome. At Badass Beer Fest last year at the Tactical Brewing booth, the guy was wearing a t-shirt and it had like a cartoon version of a chupacabra on it.
Oh, nice.
And she goes, that's a really cool shirt. You guys have any I can buy? And he goes, no. And she goes,
you just whipped it off?
No. And she goes, well, can I have your shirt? And the guy goes,
Trade?
A shirt. And okay, we'll talk. So Tina goes over to the booth next door, which was Urban South, based out of New Orleans, Louisiana, buys a women's t-shirt. Always looking for the gray area, guys.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Buys an Urban South t-shirt, which I'm sure I was moving magnets around earlier today, but Urban South is up there somewhere. And sure enough, the man traded her for the shirt.
And he wore the
Urban South. And the Urban South shirt was it was kind of like a mix between these two colors. It was like a very teal. Oh man, I wish I could find where the actual the actual magnet is because the magnet matched the shirt.
Wow.
Oh, there it is. The magnet matched the shirt.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
He looks so cute. But anyway,
was it a V?
No, no.
High cut sleeves.
Yeah, the sleeves were a little higher, and he wore it proudly. Normally, at the end of every Badass Beer Fest, they start a bonfire with pallets and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's usually on Tampa Bay Brewing property, so we'll see how that goes this year.
Yeah,
since it's supposed to end at 5 p.m.
Oh wow, early closing.
Starts at noon and ends at 5.
Hours. Yeah.
Last year there was like a 12 to 4 session, and then there was like a 5 to 9 session. There's one session this year, so
okay.
I might drunk dial the voicemail. We'll see.
Okay, do it.
Anyway,
we need some good voicemails.
I know we do, guys. Drunk dialing is encouraged. If you don't, come on, they're a lot of fun. So anyway, Kevin is drinking a Ghost Blimp by Tactical Brewing Company. Last one of 2022 were his notes on this one, and a 4 1/4 cap rating is what he gave it. Moving on up the list, Will D is drinking a Reduced Stability. That's about what I'm feeling right now. By Lupulin Brewing Company. He said, solid beer. Mikey, the Black Lab, approves. Don't give your dogs beer, people. The hops are not good.
Hops are bad for him. Yeah.
He said he picked this up at the Total Wine and More in Jacksonville. Will, if you come to Tampa, I'll buy you a beer. 4.5 caps for this beer is what he gave for the rating. Alex Fuchs is drinking a Trick by Mivshalet Hadash.
Israeli beer, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is, because it's definitely in a language I cannot read. 5 cap rating.
Oh.
But the whole label is pretty much written in Hebrew.
Yes.
So I'll
Google Translate it.
Yeah, he also had a second 5 cap rating. So he had Trick and Treat about 5 hours ago. So he's enjoying some Halloween beers over there. And I'm also looking at the picture that you posted too, Alex, on your Treat. There's a brew dog kind of photo picture flyer in the background. It says approved dog dealer, which I thought was pretty cool. But a label from Brewdog Brewing Company. Jeff Seiler is drinking a Goza the Gozerian. Oh, yes. We're getting into he says, happy Halloween, sour, fruity, and green. Who you going to call? Well, duh. You call Goza the Gozerian. 3.5 caps, but man, just a really cool. I mean, it is ectoplasm green, as if for our Ghostbuster fans out there. Bill Schlemmer drinking a Loose Candies by More Brewing Company. He's checking in at the Draft and Vessel Tosa. Candied mango slices, violet jujubes, crystallized honey, and CBD infused gummy bears.
Whoa!
Now,
wow.
Hang on a second. That's what the Untapped notes say. That's what he typed, right? That's what the Untapped notes say. Because Bill, had you not typed, this is what I saw on Untapped, I'd have wondered what else you were enjoying before you had this beer. He says, even though my palate can't taste any of those things, it's a damn good beer. And
wow, that's all matters.
4 1/4 cap rating. But man, violet jujubes. I don't remember there being purple jujubes.
I don't either. Yeah.
And CBD infused gummy bears. Man, that's a Willy Wonka quote just waiting to happen. He also checked into the brandy barrel aged Imperial Pumpkin Ale by Lakefront Brewing. Pretty smooth for a 13% ABV beer. One of the better pumpkin beers I've had. 4 cap rating for him. Continuing his check-in streak, Mr. Chad Lamassa is drinking a Pumpkinville Latte by Ellicottville Brewing Company up in New York. Actually in the Southern Tier region of New York. Actually right near Southern Tier Brewing Company. He said he picked this up in Ohio while visiting my mom. Chad, where's your mom live in Ohio? He said it was delicious coffee flavor, just enough pumpkin to cut the bitterness, then vanilla and spices on the finish. 4 1/4 caps. Ellicottville has some pretty cool beers. I had actually visited that brewery / restaurant. Mike Allen is drinking a barrel-aged German chocolate cake by Wicked Weed Brewing. Drinking that sellout beer, huh, buddy? I'm just kidding. 4 cap rating. It's one of their guilty pleasure beers. And if I do remember, you can pick that up in like a guilty pleasures pack. There's German chocolate cake and a couple other dessert-based beers, but 4 caps is what he gave that beer. Denny, you and I got tagged in this next one along with Jim Kudzall. Tara Carlson is drinking a giant pumpkin by Greater Good Imperial Brewing Company. She said, finally found the right pumpkin beer. This, an old zombie movie, and rain spacing out the trick-or-treaters is making for a perfect Halloween. Nice. She checked into this one 2 hours ago, so sorry to hear it's raining on your Halloween. I did always enjoy a good snowstorm when we'd have trick-or-treaters in Ohio, but once again, I'm in shorts. It was 82 degrees tonight. 4.5 cap rating is what she gave that beer. Jeff Seiler. Jeff, I'll pay for your shipping. You send me this label. Ooh. Jeff is drinking a Stout Chocula by Ramari Brewing Company. Nice. Definitely a Halloween beer. Big chocolate, vanilla, and roasted coffee notes. It actually has Count Chocula cereal in it. That's nuts and delicious. 4 cap rating for that one. I love when breweries use cereal in their beers. Ooh, this is one of my favorites. Chad Lamassa, Frog's Hollow Double Pumpkin Ale. Oh, now I'm not a huge pumpkin person. This one's from Hoppin' Frog.
Yeah, I figured it's Hoppin' Frog.
I do enjoy this beer. Another Ohio visit pickup, all the spices you expect. It's a touch sweet, and I agree. A 4 cap rating for this one. He checked into this one about an hour ago.
Oh.
And Skinny Matt Knight is drinking an Oktoberfest by Genesee Brewing Company. He's finishing up trick-or-treating with the kiddos. Matt, I'm glad to see your the picture he put up is him carrying his beer around in one of those flimsy little foam koozies that I'm sure your beer was warm by the time you were done with it. Matt, send us a screenshot.
Yeah, a screenshot. You can get one of these
on Spotify. I've had beer out in a 90-degree day. Has been cold the whole time.
Make it quick, buddy.
But
Spotify.
Listen where he is. He's in upstate New York. You're in the Rochester area, I do believe. I mean, right now, I'm sure it's probably like 40, 50 degrees. His beer is probably plenty cool enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's finishing up trick-or-treating with the kiddos with an Oktoberfest by Genesee Brewing. 3.5 caps for that beer. And I'm going to refresh my screen because I did this a while ago. Eric Gronley checking into a Northeast. I read that right. Yeah, Northeast by Grain Belt Beer. Checking in at the Broadway Bar and Pizza. Happy Halloween to all, but happy birthday to my dad. Got to share some pizza and drink a beer together. Always time well spent. Definitely agree on that one. One of the beers that started my craft beer journey. A 4 cap rating for that one.
Nice.
Yeah, that'll always hold a special place in your heart too. And Craig Andrew, looking forward to seeing him and Robin at Badass Beer Fest next weekend. Craig Andrew is drinking a Very Green by Treehouse Brewing Company. He's drinking this at the Mangoes and Marley, a coastal cafe. Put simply, for his 4.5 cap rating, shit's delish.
Oh, there you go. Short and sweet.
And that's what everybody's drinking.
Nice. All right. I just want to say one thing with Chad Lamassa. He did make it to Trek Brewing. He did talk to John. I was disappointed that John didn't offer him a tour of the brewery.
Or a loose cannon.
Yeah. Or a loose cannon. He's not big enough. That beer is
I know. But hopefully
out of production. One day maybe he'll do it. But yeah, I'm glad that Chad got to go visit Trek, and not only that, but Chad enjoyed the beers. There was at least 3 5-cap rating beers he checked in at Trek, and one of them being the pumpkin beer, I believe, that he got a whole pint of that he really enjoyed.
Listen, Trek is no joke, and not just because John's a friend of ours, but that man puts out some seriously delicious beer. So if you're in the Columbus, Ohio area, go just east and go see John and Kristen
in Newark.
And in Newark, they put out some good beer.
So, you know what? I forgot to add this to the. You know what? I'm so bad, but John did comment on our show asking about. I asked him, "Hey, did you guys submit any beer?" This is going off my memory because I didn't write it down in the show notes, but he said, in order to win, you have to submit. He did not submit. Yeah, you got to participate. He did not submit beers for 2022 Great American Beer Fest. He said he did submit beers in 2020, and he was a bit disappointed in the feedback he got back from the judging, which is sad but understandable as well. It costs $160 per entry, and you got to send, about 3 to 4 crowlers worth of beer, and then you got to pay for the shipping to get there. So it is a bit of a.
So you're $200 in for every beer you want to enter.
Yeah. So I understand that, but yeah, it's a challenge for small breweries to be able to come up with the money to do that, especially if they did decide to do it one year and the feedback wasn't worth, at least if you got good feedback, you're getting something to know what to do differently or how you could have achieved, a higher status. That is kind of sad. And I don't blame John for not entering. But I do want to see him continue to try to enter because he does make some great beer. And, being here in Boise, seeing that Mad Swede Brewing, small brewery, wins gold medal for their brown ale. Small breweries can do it, if you just got to get the right, the right judges and the right beer and the right timing, I guess.
Well, it's even us too. We had right down the street, Bullfrog Creek. Yeah, same thing. Yeah. They don't have any distribution that I would compare them to the size of Trek Brewing. Yeah. So I mean, it's possible, but it again, taking an extra $250 and just going.
No, it's hard, right?
Turns into something.
Yeah. And imagine if you decide to enter 3 beers, that's a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
But you have to, make up. So yeah, but hey, don't, just because they haven't won any Great American Beer Fest medals doesn't mean you shouldn't go visit Trek. They make some great beers. Just listen to our reviews from our listeners and from Kris and I. But we're friends of the brewer. Even strangers to the brewer still rate their beers high ratings. And Tara, hating farmhouse or hating vanilla,
to bring that one up.
She loved the vanilla beer that he made, and I think they also enjoyed the saison too, as well, which we enjoyed the saison too.
I don't like saisons. I like his.
Yeah. Okay, enough of that. There's our love for John.
Yeah.
Trek Brewing.
Love you, buddy.
Yep. There we go. Okay, so let's get into the Beer Speak 101. I didn't do a Beer Speak last episode, if you noticed or didn't notice, but hey, we're coming back strong. And honestly, I guess I should have done this Beer Speak before we did this beer, because it plays right in hand with a lot of these big, strong Imperial stouts. And what we're going to talk about, let me talk about what Beer Speak 101 is. It's where we briefly describe or define common and not so common beer terminology. In this episode, we explain what it means when we talk about a beer being alcoholic or boozy. So if a beer has those qualities, it's a warming taste of ethanol and higher alcohols, can be described as spicy and vinous in character. And the higher ABV of a beer, often the larger mouthfeel it has. And alcohol can be perceived in aroma, flavor, and as a sensation. So those are all things that you can, kind of describe as an alcoholic or boozy type beer. For me, when I describe something as boozy or alcoholic, it's typically a negative aspect because I don't want to taste the booze or the alcohol in my beer. So for me, it's a negative. For other people, it might be a positive, right? If they want to feel like they're getting their money's worth or their palate's worth of tasting the alcohol, so be it. I'm not going to tell people how they can enjoy their beer, but for me, it's usually more of on the negative side. It's too boozy, too alcoholic.
Well, right now, being that it's Halloween, we are here for the booze.
Yeah. But I will say that in this polyester outfit with this wig and stuff on, this beer is overheating me. You can probably see my face is probably turning bright red. It's the 12.5% is definitely. Oh
yeah, it's definitely working its way in.
Yeah. All right. Well, Kris, I want to get this done in under an hour and a half. So we're going to bust through this brew buzz. And we're ready for the brew buzz. And the brew buzz is devoted to discussing various beer-related topics. And this week, as we mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about Halloween themed beers. And we're going to break this down into spooky beers, pumpkin style beers, and candy style beers, all things associated with Halloween and the holiday. I'll post on our show notes and on the show post on the website the articles that I grabbed these examples from. I won't talk about them now because you could go look them up later if you want more. I took only a few from each of these lists and made this list that we have now. So, Kris, what we're going to do is we'll start off and we'll alternate between beers.
Okay.
And we'll talk about them. So I'll start off with the spooky beers. The first spooky beer we're talking about is called Evil Dead Red from L. Smith Brewery out of San Diego. If you have seen the movie, you know that the demons in this film hunted for flesh. Well, this beer pours blood red. It's creepy, but tastes sensational. The pine and citrus aroma plays well on the bitter taste. Emanating? Is that a word?
Emanating.
Oh, yeah. Let me take some more of this.
Go look that up in the Necronomicon, and then we'll talk.
Emanating from the American hops and nice malty bready flavor. Evil Dead Red sounds fantastic to me. All right, Kris, you're up next.
Jim said that for the next time we do Beer Speak 101, that we should. How would you describe the term dank?
Okay. Let's do dank next. I'll do that one.
All right. This one I'm very excited to read about because it's going to go into my who I'd like to raise a glass to as well.
Ooh.
But Dead Guy Ale by Rogue Ales and Spirits out of Newport, Oregon. It's pouring Dead Guy's deep reddish ale is a great Halloween treat. And Rogue's classic signature beer is one every beer drinker should try. It's part Bock, part ale. And the toasty malt aroma and taste is superbly balanced by the hops and subtle fruity undertones. Dead Guy leaves you with a wonderful bitter aftertaste.
Yeah. Dead Guy is a classic.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly it's a my Bock style, but if you read into the way it's made, it's not necessarily made like it's an ale that tastes like a Bock. So. It is what it is, but it's still good beer. I also agree that's a good beer.
And they do make it in a ceramic crowler. If you can get it in the ceramic crowler still. Do you have one of those?
Like over here in my
Yeah.
These ones here are all ceramic, and I have Dead Guy, double Dead Guy.
Yeah, and today is one of my friend's birthday, and that's what I got him for his birthday one year. And it's his favorite
double Dead
beer.
Guy?
No, just Dead Guy.
Dead Guy, okay.
Yeah, but it was in the ceramic crowler.
Another interesting fact, I don't know if they're serving in cans, it's not going to be true, but if you still get in the bottles with the screen printing, if they still have the old screen printing, were glow in the dark.
Oh.
Mind blown, right?
Cooler and cooler.
Okay. The next beer is Death Grip by Pig Minds Brewing out of Rockford, Illinois. Yeah. At 100 IBUs, Death Grip might frighten you, but never fear. The hops bitterness of this American IPA is the star, but it is also masked quite well. The mosaic hops shine in Death Grip, and one is privy to the plenty of citrus and tropical fruit aromas. The aftertaste is fruity and bitter, but nothing over the top. Nice.
Oh, this is one of the only horror movies that ever scared me as a young fella.
And I saw this when I was 7 or 8 years old.
Did you really?
Yes.
No
And I had
as
nightmares.
No
I had
wonder you're as
nightmares
twisted as you are. First time I saw this movie, I was 17 years old, and I saw it at my brother's house. And I remember finishing the movie, and I was like, "So you're gonna sleep down here with me, right?" Like, because Exorcist. For those of you that haven't seen it, careful. Exorcist from local option beer worker out of Chicago, Illinois. The power of darkness is evident in this extra stout. Everybody loves a good extra stout.
Extra stout, yeah.
Yeah. The dark chocolate malt gives Exorcist a deep, dark black color. There's also some tempting raspberry, licorice, and delicate bitterness from the hops. The intensity of Exorcist will make your head spin, but it's worth it.
Love it. Love it. All right. Here's a beer that I'm sure that Jim and Tara probably enjoy. The Fear from Flying Dog Brewing out of Frederick, Maryland. Are you ready to face your fears? You should, because Flying Dog's pumpkin ale tastes like homemade pumpkin pie with a blend of flavors that include graham cracker, fall spices, a little chocolate, and pumpkin. The Fear.
The Fear. Ichabod. I saw this at the grocery store the other day. Ichabod from New Holland Brewing out of New Holland, Michigan. Ichabod combines malted barley, pumpkin, nutmeg, and cinnamon, which is exceptionally prevalent at the start. The farm-like freshness of the pumpkin is outstanding. The question is, do you dare drink of the pumpkin? Brought to you by Ichabod.
Nice. How about some Mummy Train from Flat Earth Brewing out of St. Paul, Minnesota? Mr. Garrett Bronley, have you had some Mummy Train? Are you ready to explore deep, dark Egyptian tombs in order to find a treasure? If you do, you may find a beer that combines pumpkin with cinnamon, ginger, and nutmeg. The flavor is on the lighter side, but if you don't want to be hit over the head with pumpkin flavor, hop on board the Mummy Train. Hop on board.
Shallow Grave. Yeah, from Heretic Brewing out of Fairfield, California. Yeah. Heretic suggests this rich porter is perfect for a night walk in the woods, or if you're taking your kids out trick-or-treating. The perfect spot to enjoy a shallow grave. The GABF bronze medal winning porter combines 5 malts and a few hops for rich taste that includes chocolate, caramel, and coffee. It enjoys a beer grade of 96, one of the best porters around.
Yeah, and this is one of the ones I mentioned on my favorite H Breweries beers. The Shallow Grave. It's good. This beer is called Spooky Beer from Blue Mountain Brewery out of Afton, Virginia. The ghostly brew's mouthwatering barrel taste is impossible to miss. The pumpkin and cocoa nibs are secondary players to the pronounced barrel flavor, but it is all balanced by a nice sweetness. It's so good, it's, spooky. Spooky.
One that I feel a lot of our listeners have been able to enjoy, Zombie Dust.
Oh, so good.
Three Floyds Brewing Company. They're out of Munster, Indiana. You got zombies. You got Three Floyds. If you see any of their artwork, you'll know why I'm saying that's spooky. And then Munsters. Everybody loves the Munsters. Be careful, but be careful. One sip of this American Pale Ale, and you're sure to be more appealing to zombies during the apocalypse. The intense citrusy hops bitterness is balanced well by pine and malt notes. It's incredibly easy drinking.
I do enjoy some Zombie Dust.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the last beer on our spooky list is Witch's Wit. Not Witch's Tit, Witch's Wit from Lost Abbey out of San Marcos, California. It's a spiced white ale, in case you didn't know. The first thing you'll notice about this beer is the controversial label art, which features a convicted witch being burned at the stake in front of a crowd. This particular beer was made in honor of the original beer that would be passed around during the actual witch burnings back in the day.
Oh.
It includes tons of citrus and spice blends. Now, of course, all this witch burning was being done in England, not in the U.S. Just to let you guys know.
Well, I mean, there's a fun little listing on Untapped about my red rum too. If you want to put that one in there, is the red rum from Corporate Ladder Brewing. It's inspired by one of the most iconic horror movies of all time, this Imperial Berliner, which I had no idea this thing clocked in at 8.5%. We talked about it containing strawberries, rum-soaked bananas, Madagascar, vanilla beans, and caramel. This banana split-esque beer is best drank in solitude next to a typewriter in the Overlook Hotel. Fortunately, you won't have to give your soul for this glass of beer. Here's Johnny.
All right, Kris. Now we're going to go into the Canadian Halloween-themed beers. I thought, you know what?
This is good.
Why not go ahead and give some love to our neighbors
America
up north?
Light. Yes.
Yeah, let's go ahead. So, Kris, go ahead and start off our first Canadian Halloween-themed beer.
The first Canadian-themed beer is from Brain Eater from Bomber Brewing out of Vancouver, British Columbia. The Bomber Brewing has brewed us the perfect Halloween beer. The aroma smells of everything you love about fall. Pumpkin spice. The beer has lots of flavor to satisfy your pumpkin fever, but remains light enough to enjoy the whole bottle.
Yeah, notice that the spelling of flavor is
flavor.
Yeah, it's not the way we normally. It's Canadian. It's Canadian. You got to spell it the way Canadians spell it.
There's
all right.
Plenty of flavor though.
All right. The next one is the Great Pumpkin Spice Brown Ale from Bushwhacker Brewing out of Regina, Saskatchewan.
That's
Yeah,
Bushwhacker with 2 Ks.
With 2 Ks, not one, 2 Ks. Bushwhacker. The specialty ale is infused with cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, vanilla, and fresh ginger. Oh my gosh, some ginger too. Tastes just like pumpkin pie in a glass. Wow. I have never had a pumpkin ale with ginger in it. I might enjoy that one. Have I?
You
Which
have.
one? Which one with ginger?
Most of them.
No.
Ginger is one of the spices in pumpkin pie spice.
Is it?
Yeah. You have.
Then why don't I like pumpkin pie spice when I love ginger?
Because you're not a basic white girl.
Basic white pirate.
The next one is Darkling from Cannery Brewing out of Penticton, British Columbia. That's what it says. Penticton. If you're spending Halloween night by yourself, don't be scared. Darkling is perfect for you. This oatmeal stout, which we discussed earlier, would probably be good after a year. This oatmeal stout balances smooth mouthfeel with bittersweet roasted flavors to brighten the blackest of days. I just read what I'm given.
Yes. How about the Weeping Reaper? Man, I don't want a Reaper that's weeping. That's not very scary.
If he's crying, we have problems.
Yeah. But the Weeping Reaper from Dead Frog Brewing out of Langley, British Columbia. This haunting golden lager, there's a new one, golden, has a splash of citrus, a sweet caress of fruit hop flavor and aroma, and a brisk dry finish. Drink this beer if you're watching a scary movie this Halloween. You and your beer can weep together.
For those of you that don't know, Denny, how are you doing on your Hunahpu, by the way?
I'm empty.
Oh, yours is okay. No wonder our beer readings are getting so much fun. Reapers.
I have this white ale too. I can pop in my glass.
Yeah.
You know what? Why not?
You could. I still have a half of this sunny little thing from when I was getting my notes done.
Oh, nice.
So we'll finish that as I finish the last 3 or 4 ounces of my Hunahpu.
I need to dilute this Hunahpu. It's affecting me, but I'm reading well, aren't I?
You're doing very good. That's how I know you're at the prime level.
I'm going to overdo it here. We're going to start.
No, we're not. We're going to be just fine. Reaper's Choice from New Level Brewing out of Calgary, Alberta, which is an American IPA. The Reaper comes ripping, not weeping, like the folks over at Dead Frog.
Yes.
This is for all you hop fiends out there. High ABV, high IBU, perfect if you're planning on getting slightly tipsy this Halloween, which Denny, you and I did.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's the witching hour.
Mm-hmm.
The witching hour dark pumpkin ale from Torque Brewing out of Winnipeg,
Manitoba.
Thank you for your Canadian knowledge, Manitoba.
Jesus. I didn't realize I had Canadian knowledge, but here we are.
I am impressed. You impress me every show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your support. I wouldn't be able to do the show without you. This beer is a great match with dark fall evenings, a fall tradition. This beer is roasty and spicy with a smooth pumpkin follow through. Yeah, there's some Canadian beers.
I'm so glad you put the Canadian beers in there too.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Those can be a lot of fun though, don't you know? What about some candy themed beers? We got the American beers, we got some Canadian beers. What about some candy themed beers like the peanut butter French press?
Yeah.
Weathered Souls Brewing out of San Antonio, Texas. It's a Reese's Imperial Stout. And from the crowd pleasing French press series, this version adds peanut butter, toasted cacao nibs, and dragon juice.
Dragon juice? What the hell is that?
I don't know, but it's coffee. It's coffee from Long Road Coffee.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Weathered Souls has created a straight up Reese's peanut butter cup in a glass with an added kick of coffee. Oh, and 11.3 ABV.
Yeah.
I mean, we're shaking in our boots because this beer just lights up all the addictive pleasure zones in our brain. Chocolate, peanut butter, coffee. Best of all the Weathered Souls switches up the featured coffee. That's not going to sound right when we play it on the recording, but whatever. In the past, Ethiopian and Yemeni beans have been the star. This year, the San Antonio-based brewery, which just announced the opening of a new tap room in Charlotte.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, which will include an incubation program for minority and women-owned breweries. That's a word you don't say too often. Incubation program. They added beans from Long Road Coffee.
All right. Yeah, that sounds... I've never had a Reese's peanut butter cup with coffee in it, but hey, it works.
You know, as much as Reese's has put out some of the most random concoctions, I would hope to see a Reese's coffee peanut butter cup soon, because they made one with pretzels, which was okay. They made one with like potato chips, which sucked. Because it wasn't potato chips. It was like really crunchy puffed rice pieces. They failed on that one. The pretzels one was good, though. Get the next one, Denny.
Yeah. How about Friends to the End from Great Notion Brewing out of Portland, Oregon? This is their Snickers-themed beer. It's an Imperial Double Stout. It says, "We're scared just looking at this can." A collab with Chuck's Hop Shop. Great Notion describes this beer as nothing to snicker at. Chock full of gooey caramel, peanuts, and cocoa nibs, this beer unwraps just like a well-popular Mars candy bar.
Wonder which one.
It's no surprise the minds that brought us a beer that tastes exactly like pancakes nails the flavor of this candy-inspired beer. Beyond that, our favorite part of Snickers is that nice ooey stickiness from the caramel, and somehow Great Notion translated this texture into its Imperial Stout, one that will coat your knife, or we mean mouth. Oh yeah, coat your knife.
I'm excited to read this one because these guys are going to be at the beer festival, which...
Well, let's just hope that they don't say it's an 8% when it's really a 2.5%.
You know, last year too, by the way, Denny, I don't know if you noticed, I don't know if we got to talk about this, but this sticker here, that came from Badass Beer Fest last year.
Oh, good. Uncle Rubens is there with you this time.
They are not going to be there this year, but 450 North will be there. we are talking about their candy corn float slushy XXL.
Wow.
The name
Extra.
alone. How do you feel about candy corn, Denny? Well, you don't like sweets at all.
I don't like sweets
feel?
at all. So I never, even when I was a kid, I always tossed the candy corn. Never ate candy corn.
So basically,
it's
it
like
belongs
wax
in the trash, is what you're telling me.
It's like I should burn it in a candle. Is what it is.
Yeah, it'd probably do better as like a fuel source than actual candy.
Exactly.
Well, the folks at 450 North put out their candy corn float slushy XXL. Those guys are out of Columbus, Indiana. It's a candy corn fruited sour. Well, this one is pretty literal, folks, except how in the weird world of confections did 450 North mimic the flavor of candy corn? We've always been baffled by exactly what those tiny orange, white, and yellow triangles taste like. Well, who better to turn to unravel the mystery that the crazy candy, dessert, and fruit-laden beer magicians themselves? The Columbus, Indiana-based brewery actually released a whole series of fantastical, whimsical, and ghoulish Halloween beers this year. But Candy Corn Float Slushy, XXL, impressed us the most. It features Cara Cara Orange, vanilla soft serve ice cream, marshmallow, pineapple, vanilla cream, and candy corn. This is one crazy beer. The universe may never know the answer to the question, what exactly is candy corn? But we'll take 450 North Brewing's interpretation as the closest thing.
Yeah, it sounds like the beer is way better than the candy. So I think I would enjoy this myself.
Yeah, you're probably right.
All right. Well, let's go into some Franken Smiggles from Pontoon Brewing. From Sandy Springs, Georgia. This is a Skittles themed beer.
Oh.
Fruited Berliner Weiss. Pontoon Brewing Company originally released this beer as Rainbow Smiggles, a Berliner Weiss collab with Sprayberry Bottle Shop. The beer had this crazy candy clashes with cereal vibe going on. Now the brewery launches a spooky version around Halloween called Frankensmiggles, featuring
sorry, I can't help it.
featuring strawberry marshmallow cereal, strawberry candy, strawberry, vanilla, and lactose. This is a Halloween candy beer that will, as the brewery puts it, keep you from dripping into your kids. Well, not dripping.
Dipping.
Keeping you from
Don't drip into your kids, guys. That's not okay.
Into your kids' candy stash. The beer releases on October 30th, this is 2021. Just in time for Halloween.
The label art on this is phenomenal.
Is it crazy?
It's not even crazy, but it's just it's pretty.
Oh, you're gonna show us? Show me. Oh, that is pretty. I like that.
Now, Megan's a big fan of Frankenstein too, and
yeah,
I don't know.
You need that. You need that label for your wall.
Yeah.
We need Mike Allen. Mike Allen, go find some Pontoon Brewing Frankensmiggles.
Mostly because we just want to say it over and over again. We get Pontoon here.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. So I'll go to my local Total Wine and see what we can find. Blizzard BA Stout with Oreos from Drecker Brewing Company. Love those guys. They're out of Fargo, North Dakota. The Oreo Imperial Double Pastry Stout. That makes my stomach turn just thinking about it.
It seems really sweet.
I'll split it with about 6 people.
Yeah, I can't drink that by myself.
Have you seen the amazing artwork from this North Dakota-based brewery? Well, yeah, I mean, you can look at. We talk about. You just said, "Hey, you need to get the labels." Look, Drecker. Where'd my list go? There we go. With skulls and zombies galore tearing up their cans, Drecker is made for Halloween year-round. Plus, with series like Brains, you get the idea. We recognize this hardcore psychedelic brewery before for its banging fruited sours, but with their stouts, they have a serious side. Just kidding. Blizzard barrel-aged stout may look super serious on the outside, but don't let the label fool you. Drekker still features the Wild Child inside with this one. A huge 13% ABV
Oh my gosh.
beer. Jesus. Blizzard is a blend of Imperial Stout and milk sugar aged in Heaven Hill barrels.
Oh, wow.
That makes my teeth hurt thinking about that. For 18 months and then conditioned on a ridiculous amount of vanilla ice cream and Oreos. Drinkers beware, you'll get addicted.
And diabetes.
Diabetes.
Wow, that is
Wilford
amazing.
Brimley.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Jeez.
Wow, I haven't had any Drekker beers. I know you've had a ton of them and enjoyed all of them. I need to try to get them, but that's too much for me. I can't handle that.
You know what's amazing to me is, I mean, you guys are so much closer to North Dakota than I am.
Yeah.
And I can go down to the shop down the street here and go
and get them
up.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Well, here's another beer I can't get. Hershey's Chocolate Porter from Yuengling Brewery. No, Yuengling doesn't come to Idaho. Pottsville, Pennsylvania. And I'm actually a fan of Yuengling Lager. Anyway, I like Yuengling Lager, but we can't get it here. I only get it when I go either to the East Coast, New York area. I usually drink Yuengling when I'm there.
Well, we've got a brewery here in Tampa too. It's right next to Busch Gardens theme park.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, this beer I have been curious about is the Hershey's Chocolate Bar Imperial Double Pastry Stout.
I wouldn't call it that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It's a little lighter. I've heard it's more of a thinner.
Pretty light in the mouth feel.
Yeah. So it kind of shouldn't call it a pastry stout for sure. Okay, stick with us here. We know what you're thinking. Yuengling, the traditional lager brewers from Pennsylvania, really? Beyond the obvious chocolatey reasons, we'd like to call attention to the actual phenomenal feat of brewing this candy-inspired beer. Literally, Yuengling had to have a custom centrifuge made just to handle this beer. Plus, it's a porter, which we believe is one of the most underrepresented styles in craft beer. Wow, this is a porter themed podcast.
It beat out Budweiser beat it out, right?
Yeah. Don't be scared. Give this one a try. So, Kris, you've actually tried this Hershey's Chocolate Porter?
I can't. So I've had it. Now, there was something up with it.
Oh,
I don't. When I popped the cap off the bottle, it didn't give that kind of thing, and there was something about it that made me think I got a bad batch.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to investigate that one a little further. In the future.
Okay.
But we'll see. Lollipop Forest series from Deciduous Brewing Company out of Newmarket, New Hampshire. It's a fruited sour. Admittedly, lollipops aren't our favorite type of candy, but we love Lollipop Forest, and who doesn't? That kind of goes along with who was talking about it earlier in the show? Jeff Seiler. Was it Jeff Seiler? He was talking about Bill Schlemmer. He was talking about CBD infused gummy bears. And actually, it's one of our favorite dessert inspired series of the year. Deciduous really just leverages those fruity suckers as inspiration. This means the brewery plays around with all types of confections, including jelly beans, jelly donuts, strawberry shortcake. I'm getting fatter just reading this. Caramel apples, sugar plums, and a myriad of fruits in these. That doesn't sound right. A myriad of fruits in these fruited sours.
I must not have finished the sentence.
The Lollipop Forest is a magical place where anything wondrous can happen. Wondrous. Prepare to fall down the looking glass. These are trippy beers with Halloween candy sometimes at their core.
Wow.
That was a good descriptor.
I'm willing to try Lollipop Forest.
Lollipop Forest sounds like a fun beer to try.
Yeah, I like that.
Especially all right, the way I feel right now.
Yeah. Well, guess what? That sums up our Halloween themed beers for this Brew Buzz segment. I hope everyone was able to find something that piqued their interest and maybe you can still grab them before they all run out now that it's past Halloween. And Kris wants to skip our new and Norworthy beer
Don't
because
read
we're
it now.
running late. Never mind. We are going to go ahead and skip our new and Norworthy beers because we are running a little bit long. So, Kris, why don't we go into our raise the glass segment, and who would you like to raise a glass to tonight?
So I would love to raise a glass to my buddy Jim Uhas, who one of his favorite beers is Rogue Dead Guy.
Oh, there we go.
Happy birthday to you, Jim. Hope you have an awesome day. It is his birthday on Halloween.
Oh,
funny enough.
Cheers, Jim.
Every year
it's on Halloween.
Every year.
Awesome.
Denny, who would you like to raise a glass to this evening?
All right. So I'll raise my Patreon toast of the night to our first Patreon supporter, Mr. Tom Byrne. Thank you for your support. We appreciate it. And Tom, remember, we still need to get together and have some beers together.
Yeah, Tom.
Just because a year ago I had COVID and we had to interrupt our get together. You don't have to go a year before seeing me. My COVID's been, gone for a year now. Come on,
Denny. Do you remember this?
Yes, I still use that.
Let's see. Do you? Let's see.
I don't have it with me. It's downstairs.
That's okay. I found it in one of my boxes earlier. So as you're finishing up, you're
gonna do a breathalyzer. Okay. And as far as my other toast, you know what? Again, I toasted you last week or last episode, Kris. I'm toasting you again for the great support you provide for the show and for our friendship and for being with me through the trying times. Wow, Kris, you are almost wasted.
I'm almost legal. I'm still legal.
You're still legal under 0.08, right?
I was 0.074.
Yeah.
Just made it.
But Kris, cheers to you for being a great friend and for doing the show with me and supporting me during my trying times a couple weeks ago. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
And of course, being a former serviceman, I always want to raise my glass and thank all those who have served and are currently serving in the U.S. military services, protecting our freedoms. I hope all that are deployed are able to return safely home to your families very soon. Cheers to you and thank you for your support. And Kris, why don't you go ahead and raise a glass to our sponsor?
So the folks over at FrostBuddy specialize in cooling containers for your beverage of choice. FrostBuddy has the Universal Buddy 2.0, which is the world's first universal can cooler for 12-ounce cans, slim cans, bottles, and even 16-ounce cans. FrostBuddy also has the world's first universal wine cooler, 24-ounce stainless steel mugs, and even stainless steel dog bowls. Go visit their website at frostbuddy.com.
All right. You can find the beers and the links to the articles mentioned in the show in the show notes located on the show post at taptocraft.com. And if you'd like to follow us on social media, I can be found on Twitter, Instagram, and Untappd at Loose Screw. And Kris, how can our listeners follow you?
So never on Twitter at Kris_McKenzie82. Jim Kudzall just said, cheers to you, sir. You can always find me on Untappd and Instagram at MCK1345. But interact with us on everything Tap the Craft on all the social media platforms.
Of course. All right. It is last call. It's time to bring the show to a close. We want to thank you for downloading and listening. We ask you to please tell a friend. And of course, subscribe on your favorite podcast app and rate us as well. And as a reminder, we release a new show every 2 weeks. Now go out there and spread the good word of craft beer.
Cheers. Jeff Seiler said, great show. Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you.